James Milner opens up on heartbreaking Diogo Jota death. He was so clever. James Milner and Diogo Jota were teammates for 3 years at Liverpool, and the pair became close friends and won trophies together with the Reds. James Milner spoke fondly of late former Liverpool teammate Diogo Jota, describing him as so underrated as a player and praising qualities as a person. Milner and Joa played alongside each other at Anfield for 3 years between 2020 and 23 and struck up a close friendship. Tragedy struck the soccer world last summer when Joa died in a car accident on July 3rd, prompting a global outpouring of grief. Milner paid tribute to Jota at the time, saying that the death of the Portugal international and his brother devastated him. Now, in a new interview with Gary Lineker on the Stick to Football podcast, "We were pretty close," Milner said. "When you have teammates and that team spirit and the amount of time you spend together, he was one of us straight away, always sat on our table. He was such a great guy, bought into English football and English culture and could have a joke. And boy, could we argue and joke. We were always having a mess around. We were both so stubborn, had so many fun times winding each other up. Used to work with him in training when you're in twos. You can't put into words. His family as a player, as a guy, so loved. He was one of those guys who could sit with anyone and get along and have a laugh with him. So underrated as a player. He was my favourite player to watch as a fan watching football. He was so clever with how he'd use his body. Even when he wasn't receiving the ball, he'd block someone, so the next guy had time on the ball. Body positions, rolls, touches, finishes. He was so clever. I used to say to Webby, Brighton teammate Adam Webster, all the time, "He's so good." And he'd respond, "Yeah, Millie, you told me last week." Andy Robertson sums up Liverpool frustration after clear Mohamed Salah verdict. Andy Robertson touched on his frustration at his reduced game time at Liverpool, while also addressing the news this week that Mohamed Salah will leave the Reds in the summer. Andy Robertson said that Mohamed Salah is among Liverpool's greatest ever players, as he paid tribute to the soon-to-be departing Egyptian. Salah announced earlier this week that he will leave Anfield at the end of the season after 9 years with the club. Robertson joined Liverpool at the same time as Salah, with both players moving to Merseyside in 27, and the Scotland international spoke fondly of his teammate in a press conference while on international duty. "I've probably ran out of words for what to say about Mole," Robertson said. "Fantastic player, unbelievable what he's done at our football club. Obviously, I signed with him in the same summer, and just being able to see him grow as a player and grow into one of the best in the world and seeing how he conducts himself every single day, how professional he is, how much work he puts in to become the best, it's been a joy to watch." If you look back at last season, he pretty much carried us on his back at times, on his own. The numbers he produced last season were just ridiculous. I suppose all good things have to come to an end, and Mo has made the decision for that to be this summer. I fully back him on that and fully support him on that. I don't think there's any doubt of how much of a legend he is at the club. He's in the conversation as one of the best players ever to play for the club. He's been a close friend of mine over the last 9 years, and it's an absolute privilege to have played with him. The next couple of weeks of his farewell will be sad, but he'll get the send-off he deserves because he's a Liverpool and a Premier League legend. Meanwhile, Robertson also touched on the frustration he has faced at Liverpool due to his reduced game time this season, as he said that international duty has kept me going at times this season. Liverpool signed Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth last summer, and the Hungarian has started far more games than Robertson in 2025 to 26. "It's kept me going at times this season, Scotland duty," Robertson said. "I can safely say that, especially at the start of the season, with the international breaks every few weeks, it was important for me. Obviously, playing in such big games, we knew that the age that players like me and John McGinn are at, it could have been my last chance to qualify for a World Cup. It gave you something to focus on, something to be a part of. I love coming away with the country, but when you're playing lots of games at club level, sometimes your mind can wander, but it's certainly been a big focus of mine this season." Liverpool sold the hat-trick striker immediately after getting glimpse into future. A remarkable hat-trick in pre-season for Darwin Núñez wasn't enough to secure his place under Arne Slot, as Liverpool opted for an immediate sale in order to bolster its attack. Liverpool took a decisive step towards in reshaping its attack by selling Darwin Núñez, despite the Uruguayan scoring a hat-trick in pre-season. The Reds secured a 5-0 victory in a behind-closed-doors friendly against Stoke City last summer. Florian Wirtz made his first Liverpool appearance in the game at the AXA Training Centre, lining up alongside Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Núñez. Arne Slot's side let 4-0 at half-time, with Núñez himself particularly on fire. The Uruguayan scored 3 goals in the opening 45 minutes in a bid to send a message to Slot. However, he was always destined for a move away from Anfield that summer after a dismal last campaign, scoring just 7 goals in 47 appearances. With Hugo Ekitike's impending arrival, Núñez left Anfield a few weeks later to join Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal for $61.6 million, £46 million, with around $14 million, £10.4 million. His relocation to the Middle East was seemingly the right move for the striker to kickstart his career. A month after joining Al Hilal, he opened his account with a goal in a 2-2 draw against Al Qadsiya. He quickly followed that up just 3 days later, finding the net again in a 2-1 win over Al Duhail on his AFC Champions League elite debut. However, his future at the club was in doubt after just a few months. After securing the signing of Karim Benzema in January, much to the frustration of Cristiano Ronaldo, the 19-time champions have opted to leave Núñez out of their league squad for the remainder of the season. With Saudi Pro League rules limiting clubs to 8 foreign players born before 2003 in a 25-man squad, Benzema's arrival from Al Ittihad has effectively forced Núñez out of the registered list, relegating him to appearances in the Asian Champions League. Explaining the decision to drop Núñez and former Arsenal defender Pablo Mari, Al Hilal boss Simone Inzaghi said, "The decision was difficult, but that's the job of a coach. He makes many decisions every day, even in every training session. Núñez and Pablo are good players. I want them in all competitions, but we know the restrictions on registering foreign players. Time was of the essence and I made the difficult decision. I calmly informed the excluded players of my decision." Núñez last featured for Al Hilal on February 16th, scoring both goals in a 2-1 AFC Champions League win over Al Wahda. Its scheduled last 16 clash with Al Sadd was postponed due to ongoing conflict in the Middle East, while Núñez's future has remained uncertain, with links to Fenerbahce and a possible return to Europe emerging during the January transfer window. He is set to play his first game in over a month during the international break as Uruguay take on England at Wembley Stadium, where the 26-year-old will be hoping to make an impact. Liverpool fans hit with transfer news they were fearing after Mohamed Salah exit. Liverpool looks set to have a big task on its hands this summer as it tries to replace Mohamed Salah, with the winger leaving the club on a free transfer after reaching an agreement. Liverpool will not embark on another huge spending spree in the transfer window this summer, despite Mohamed Salah's departure from the club. The Egyptian will bring his 9-year spell at Anfield to a conclusion at the end of the current season, having reached an agreement for the final year of his contract to be waived, enabling him to leave on a free transfer, despite missing out on a fee for the 33-year-old. There have been suggestions this week that Liverpool would still be able to embark on another major spending spree following last summer's record-breaking window, thanks in part to getting Salah's wages off the books. The Reds spent around $600 million last summer, including the signings of Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, both of whom broke the record for the Premier League's most expensive transfers. According to The Athletic, though, that won't be repeated this summer. Senior figures inside Anfield reportedly described that spree as doing 3 windows in one, with this summer's turnover set to be influenced by whether Liverpool reaches the Champions League. The Reds' qualification hopes are in the balance heading into the business end of the season. They currently sit 5th, which looks as though it will be enough for a spot at Europe's top table if the Premier League gets an extra place again. They sit just a point ahead of Chelsea in 6th, while Brentford and Everton are lurking 3 points behind. And with this season's Champions League still to contend with, as well as FA Cup commitments, Liverpool's schedule could become chaotic. The Reds have already got one new signing set to arrive in the summer, with Jeremy Jacquet completing his move from Rennes after a deal was concluded earlier this year. Despite not planning on another big spending spree, The Athletic does reveal that there is an expectation that a new winger will be signed, although there are no guarantees that a marquee name will be replacing Salah. Liverpool has been linked with a number of high-profile names in recent days, including Bayern Munich's Michael Olise and RB Leipzig's Jan Diomande. However, it's rated as highly unlikely that Bayern would sanction the sale of Olise, while a rumoured price tag of €100 million, $115 million for Diomande, could put the Reds off. It's also suggested Liverpool could move away from using wingers as part of its plan after Salah's departure. It's suggested that a 4-2-2-2 formation could be utilised, with getting Isak, Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike in the same side seen as a priority. Isak and Ekitike would therefore start up front, with Wirtz and Dominik Szoboszlai operating ahead of 2 deeper-lying midfielders. It's not a huge surprise that Liverpool isn't planning on another big spending spree, but signing a new winger is an absolute must now, even if that suggested formation becomes the norm. Steven Gerrard showed true colours to Arne Slot after Liverpool job offer. The former Liverpool captain has watched on from the sidelines as his ex-club continues to struggle for domestic success this season. Arne Slot has the backing of Liverpool icon Steven Gerrard at Anfield as he pledged to help in anything that he could. The current Reds manager is seeing success in Europe but continues to struggle domestically. Liverpool have made it to the Champions League quarter-finals following a commanding 4-0 win over Galatasaray, overturning a 1-0 deficit in the first leg. However, a damaging 2-1 defeat to Brighton just 3 days later allowed Chelsea to keep a 1-point gap on them, with Brentford and Everton just 3 points away further down the Premier League table. Despite this domestic stumble, Gerrard is still keen on Slot finding success at Anfield. Speaking to Ali McCoist in an episode of TNT Sports' Ali's Social Club in 2025, the ex-Liverpool captain admitted he would jump at the chance to return and help the Dutchman out. Gerrard said, "I'll be brutally honest with you. I'd help Liverpool in any department at any minute of every day. I'd help them in anything. I don't want the Liverpool manager to lose his job. I want Arne Slot to fix this and turn it around and make Liverpool great. I was bouncing all over the city 4 or 5 months ago when Liverpool won the league. I'm a Liverpool fan. I want the best for Liverpool. But if Liverpool need me in any department at any time, I'll be there for them." The Reds icon hasn't been in the dugout since his time at Al Ittihad, spending 1.5 years in the Saudi Pro League before leaving by mutual consent in January 2025. Gerrard has had stints at Aston Villa and the Liverpool Academy, but his most successful period came at Scottish club Rangers. The 45-year-old won the league title in Scotland during the 2020-21 season without losing a single match. The ex-Reds star may be keen to help his former club wherever he can, but admits he isn't down the job centre looking for work. He said, "If that right opportunity or that feeling that I got when I first bounced into Rangers doesn't come, then I'm fine. fine. I'm not searching for a job. I'm not down the job centre for what's available. I'm not hoping that one might come available. My life's great. My family life's great. I'm enjoying doing my life's good. I'm fine. If the right football project comes up, the hunger's back, it's there. Arne Slot dug out by Dominik Szoboszlai's Hungary boss as Florian Wirtz sends Liverpool warning A. Roundup of the latest international news involving Liverpool players as two score and another gets dragged into a club versus country row. The national team manager of Liverpool star Dominik Szoboszlai has launched a cheap dig at Arne Slot. But in better news for the Reds boss, Florian Wirtz was in scintillating form for his country ahead of the return to club action next weekend. Liverpool head coach Slot currently has 7 first-team players sidelined by injury. Little wonder then, speaking after the disappointing 2-1 defeat at Brighton and Hove Albion, he made a plea to the international managers who will be looking after his players over the next week. I think the players need a break more than the manager, Slot told Match of the Day. Unfortunately, they have to keep on playing. Let's hope that their national team coaches do understand that at Liverpool, a lot of players have played a lot of minutes like at other clubs. But I think other clubs perhaps could have rotated more than I could have this season. So let's hope that we've got national team coaches that will not play them 180 minutes over 2 games. However, those words appear to have rankled with Hungary's Marco Rossi, whose squad contains 2 Red Stars in versatile midfielder Szoboszlai and left-back Milos Kerkez. Hungary hosts Slovenia today, Saturday, and then Greece on Tuesday. And speaking ahead of the first of the 2 friendlies, Rossi said, "I have never spoken to Slot personally. Accordingly, I have never had a say in when the Liverpool head coach, for example, will play Szoboszlai as a defender. But I would also expect him not to interfere in my work. If Dominik wants to rest, of course I would let. But everyone knows how important the national team jersey is to him as the team captain. What is important for us now is to end these 2 matches with a good result." Szoboszlai, of course, has been utilised on a number of occasions this season at right-back for Liverpool, given the issues Slot has had and continues to have in that position. But that has not stopped the Hungary skipper from plundering 12 goals in all competitions already. Another player back in the goals is Wirtz, who produced what he admitted was his best performance in a Germany shirt in last night's Friday thrilling 4-3 win at Switzerland. The playmaker set up Germany's first 2 goals and then scored 2 himself, including a sumptuous effort from the corner of the box, which he modestly admitted wasn't entirely meant. His second was a superb finish too. Probably yes, Wirtz said when he was asked whether it was his best performance for his national side. I'd be lying if I said I meant it to go exactly there for the first goal, but you can see that's exactly where I wanted the ball to go for the second one. They were Wirtz's first goals after 8 games without one, and his performance sent a clear warning that he is rediscovering his best form ahead of the huge FA Cup quarter-final at Manchester City after a back injury halted his progress. But the German is not the only Liverpool man finding their chutes boot before the trip to the Etihad on Saturday week, April 4th. After striker Hugo Ekitike doubled France's advantage in their 2-1 triumph over Brazil on Thursday, captain Virgil van Dijk headed Netherlands level in their 2-1 home win over Norway last night. It was the centre-back's 7th goal for club and country this season. Van Dijk was joined in the Netherlands starting lineup by Reds teammates Ryan Gravenberch and Cody Gakpo, who both played 82 minutes. Jeremy Frimpong remained as an unused substitute. Alexis McAllister, meanwhile, played most of the match as Argentina beat Mauritania 2-1.